Hey fellow gardeners, Dawn here from Seasonal Designs. Today we are doing just a quick walkthrough of the late May garden so we can take a look at some of the things that are going on. Now before we get started, I do want to mention, if you live in Wisconsin or you are going to be in Wisconsin, August 10th and 11th, my garden is going to be on something called Open Days. So if you're interested in seeing my garden, my greenhouse, and my prairie in person, you can do so. I am going to put more information about that in the end of the video. So if you're interested, please stay tuned until the very end. I will also put links in the description. All right, let's get started.
All right, we are going to just start the video right here at the Prairie. I am on my lawn here, and this is the Prairie that wraps right up to our lawn here in the back, and this is part of the field of blooming lupine. And there's just a lot of it in here. And you can see sections where it's not growing, and in here there's just a lot of different things. This is a really big patch of the echinacea in here, Echinacea purpurea. Big patch of it, and it actually crosses over into this section here. And it really hugs the sides of our prairie. So it's like this on the opposite side as well. So it really likes it a little probably moister and a little bit shadier. It seems, because it's pretty heavy here and on the other side of our prairie. While in the middle, there's just a few small pockets of it. There's a nice sized patch of it right over here by the greenhouse. But it's just this gorgeous sea of purple. All right, so let's head over to the greenhouse gardens next. And those greenhouse gardens have a lot of purple in it. Purple is the color of spring. Lots of shades of purple. And then I really do try to keep a divide between the prairie and the gardens and try not to let, the grasses and everything grow in here. And I kind of like that I have this little bit of a path mode here, because you can walk in here to work in here or see how things are going. Yesterday I ran into a resident snake in here who scared the bejesus out of me, but it's all right. It's a little garden snake. So a lot of this obviously isn't going to bloom for a little bit yet. We're still early, end of May, so we're looking at the nepidas and the salvias. I mean, this isn't even in full bloom yet, so just takes a little bit of time. There's that lupine. Yarrow is really getting close. This stuff is so big this year. We've had a ton of rain, like so much rain. And then this area here, where you see a little bit of space, is where the pixie meadow bright was attacked. I came out here one day and I was like, what is going on with this stuff? And it had been eaten completely by little caterpillars that turn into the little fritillary butterflies. So it's really hard for me to, you know, I don't spray them because they're butterflies, but I did remove them. The ones that were left anyways, by the time I saw this, these plants were literally eaten to the ground. That's just starting to come back. These other ones I think I caught a little sooner. And there's another patch in here that was the same way. So they're a bit behind. Can't imagine why. So the stuff that's blooming now is the cat's pajamas nepeta, which is here. And then the salvia is just starting, which is there. And then next, the yellow will join in here by the yarrow. But I think it's fun or interesting to point out that even though there's only really 2 different plants that are blooming, there still is a lot of diversity in the way this looks because of the different shapes, colors, and textures of the foliage of the plants. So if you're looking at this Stakes right here, has a completely different color and texture than the plant that's right behind it with the blue-green and the yarrow. And then the texture of the allium there to the left. And then you see pockets of lime green in the grasses. And then the really light lime green are patches of the coreopsis. So even though there's not a lot blooming, a lot of different plants blooming, it has a lot of interest because of the texture of all of these plants and the color. But then you throw in the nepeta and the salvia, and it's whoa. Max Fry geranium is blooming. Some of this stuff is looking a little rough. We had hail yesterday, the day before yesterday. A lot of it. This just got pummeled. I just planted those up. We'll just kind of take a walk through here. So this Max Fry geranium, if you want a plant that just is going to reseed and fill in, this is your guy. You can see all the little seedlings under here. That's all this Max Fry geranium. So if this just reseeds and fills in here, oh, heavenly. I would never need to mulch again, and it would be lovely. And then that just fills in all the way back. This is Bobo hydrangea, going to not bloom until much later. But looking nice and healthy. And around the corner here, I've got a Baptisia here, right on the corner. And then you can see I do have more of the lupine around here, just not as heavy as what it is on the sides. And then over there on that half, you can see the lupine along that tree line, and that goes all the way back as well. Now, all of this in here, this plant right here, is Maximilian sunflower, and it's an enormous patch of it. It comes up, it gets really tall. I mean, it really is, it's the biggest patch in here. It's all of this sunflower in different sizes. Some of it's bigger than the others. But it gets tall, like 6, 7, 8 feet tall with yellow sunflower type flowers all the way up the stalk, and they kind of wave in the wind. They're very floppy. They're very pretty. All right, let's head back. Hopefully you're not going to get blinded by the sun here. And so I'm up a little bit higher so you can kind of just see out. The Amazonia also starting to bloom. It got really hit with that hail as well, but I think it's all right. And then this right here is just my annual bed, which is looking quite sparse. I just planted this up, and it's just going to take some time to fill in, but my colors this year are really kind of purples and pinks and whites. So something a little different. I have some yellow popped in there as well. Well, I can tell you that because of all that rain, our lawn is so soft. You can walk on it barefoot. It's like walking on the softest carpet. It looks fantastic right now. We'll just pop up here quick. I'm going to show you. I did a couple of containers, and I went big. Go big or go home. I've already have this beautiful tall mandevilla vine in there. And then I've underplanted it with some of the same flowers that I put in my annual bed. So hoping these just fill in and get lush and bloom and are happy all season long. And then, yeah, the view from the patio. This bush here is a Tina crabapple bush. White blooms, gorgeous, smells good, love it. And then these are the hawthorn trees. And if you recall, I was talking about them in wintertime because we got 2 feet of heavy snow right at the end of winter, and it did a lot of damage, not only to these trees, but to a lot of trees on our property. It snapped the leader off of both of these trees. They survived, and this one I feel like is just going to town with the blooms. It is just full of so many flowers. And if I'm standing here, you can hear all the little bees. Let me see if I can get in. Oh, geez, one just hit me in the head. They're all over the place. They're beautiful, but I will tell you that they smell not pretty like lily of the valley, but they're gorgeous, and I love the shape of these. They are a thornless hawthorn. We'll head down the front walk. green velvet boxwood on the left, some in substance hostas on the right, underplanted with a sea of pachysandra, which is looking lovely. The bees love the blooms on these early in the year. And then at the end here, look at that green grass. Oh my gosh, it's just so lush. Climbing hydrangea on the corner here, which got busted, unfortunately. I have 2 pots sitting here because, so one sits right here, and it gets a lot more shade now that my hawthorn tree is so big and beautiful. So we're getting sun finally today. We haven't had sun in like 3 or 4 days as it's been raining. So I moved this other pot out here so it could get sun. Otherwise, I'm afraid that it's just not going to be the same as far as blooms. So occasionally I slide one over here to cheat a little and get some sunshine on it. And then up at the house, this is my bird of paradise. And Aaron over at the Impatient Gardener gave me this last year. Yes, last year. So it spent winter in my house, which is really dry. I tried to mist it and keep it moist, but it made it. Then it went into the greenhouse, and I recently moved it out, and in all honesty, it probably could have stayed in the greenhouse another week or two because it doesn't like it cold at all. And I would say 60s in the evening are ideal, and then warmer during the day. But we've had some 50s this week. We even had a 43-degree night, which I'm certain it did not like. However, it seems to be doing fine. And interestingly enough, it has had a leaf that has been trying to unfurl for a month. And it was having issues and it ripped. But as soon as I moved it outside and it started getting, I think, good moisture, it unfurled. But really, I mean, I think it's doing quite well. I've underplanted it with some coleus and just added some color to some pots around it. But really, I think a fun statement or entryway plant. And then you can see the lupine. So that prairie wraps all the way around here. It goes right up to the tree line. Not as much blooming here. This is all stuff that's going to bloom a little bit later this summer. But let's head across the drive here. We've got a lot of purples and oranges. Purple, the color of spring. We have early bird nepeta right here. One of my favorite nepetas. It's the first to bloom. It's more of a bluey purple flower versus cat's pajamas, which is, I think, more pinky purple. And then right behind that is pink dawn salvia, and then mixed in there is the Siberian iris. This patch is just beginning to open. And then right behind that are the allium. They're purple sensation. Had a brain lock for a moment there. And then the orange of the poppies, and those are self-seeded. They came from somewhere. There's some here, there's some in my prairie. I like them. I'm just gonna let them do their thing. And down here we have more of the Siberian iris, and then I have the gladiator alliums that are not quite open yet, but they will be. And then behind that is the new bed, which we will go take a look at in just a second, as well as the cutting garden. But I wanted to kind of take a look at this little woodland area here, because I have been working hard to kind of get this looking a little bit better for this year's garden tour. My lady's mantle, these two are looking great. That one, not so much. Not sure. I don't know if it doesn't like the rain or what. It is a little lower there. This is a spiderwort that will remain unnamed because I don't know what it is. Don't know the variety. This spiderwort, Sweet Kate, love it. My favorite spiderwort. I just love it. My iris getting ready to bloom, and these smell heavenly when they bloom. And then this spiderwort here this is the first of the flowers, but isn't that just stunning when that chartreuse color and then that purple flower? Just love this one. And more hostas in here. Then we're going into my woodland garden. And this is where I have done some work with Monrovia. I have a bunch of, all of this stuff planted in here is from Monrovia. The Spiknard, the Heucheras, the Hellebores, the all gold Japanese forest grass, the red Heucheras, the ferns, all of this. This was, oh, I'll show you a picture. I'll pop it up. It was a hot mess. It looks so much better now. My idea, right, was just to have this beautiful little garden and then work it right into the woodland area where my mayapple are. I also put in this bed of Jack Frost Brunnera. It's so pretty when it blooms. It's just like this sea of little bluish flowers. And they're really airy, and they really kind of hang above the plant. So pretty. So pretty. And then this side is just kind of, we get a little wilder. I've got ferns. I've got sweet woodruff. I've got enormous bleeding hearts that are done blooming, and they're just kind of held back by the hostas here. All right, let's head over to the cutting garden. And I think we'll just take the back way here. So I have this little path that just kind of meanders. It really was a division between the garden and the woods. And then I've added some things along this slope here. This was, at one time, this was all ditch lilies. And it was it was so much, it was so hard to get rid of. Ditch lilies, some prairie, lots of weeds. This is Miss Trudy. This is a Nepeta as well. And then this is that new bed that I put in just last year. We have a video on this as well. That is a red bud, beautiful when it was blooming. And this bed is finally starting to get going here. Early on, I was a little nervous because it really didn't look good, and I did lose some things. And I have a few more plants on order that I will be picking up soon. The Echinacea Rainbow Marcella, I had a couple die out here. I also lost my creme brulee coreopsis, and I put a different variety in here. So I lost it here, and then there was another patch over here I lost that I've replaced. And then I also lost a couple of the Marsala in through here. So I have some on order that I'll be picking up. I think I lost a bubblegum echinacea right there. I don't know if I can find one of those. I'll have to pop it in. But then there's Russian sage in here. There's salvia in here. And there is a lily in here that is a beautiful salmony color when it blooms. So it's getting there. And then over here is the cutting garden and vegetable gardens. And the garden shed, which still needs to get a spruce up paint job. And my bird bath planters. And then this is 3 of the 3 Heucheras are caramel. And I love this one. It does get really kind of pretty coloring. The back of the leaf is even like a pretty color. I don't know if you can see that in the sun. And those are big because they are grown in pots and they spend some time in the greenhouse early on, so they get a head start. More of the Siberian iris here. Another Heuchera in a container. Bed number 1, strawberries and kohlrabi right now. My kohlrabi, I'll be pulling one of those probably for a snack already. I started those in the greenhouse, so everything is big and gorgeous. Bed number 2, snapdragons and dahlias, and I really packed them in. Bed number 3 is right now lettuces and spinach. A couple of rows of carrots, and then a green bean, pole bean tower. And then bed number 4 is tomatoes, which look horrible because of all of the rain. I mean, everything is very yellow, and it's because we've had nothing, literally rain every day for, I don't know, all spring. Feverfew and some salvia, an annual salvia, cucumber, zucchini, and the little patio here on the back of the garden shed. Cookies and cream hibiscus in this container here from Walter's Gardens. Here comes Anna to see what's going on. Hey, girl.
All right, let me give you a little bit of information about that open days coming up August 10th and 11th. It is part of something that is offered by the Garden Conservancy. If you go to gardenconservancy.org and you search open days in Wisconsin, you will find that there are 3 gardens there that you would be able to tour August 10th and 11th. Now you need to buy tickets in advance of the garden tour, and you need to buy a ticket for each of the gardens. So mine is called Glasshouse in the Prairie. If you follow me, you're going to recognize some of the photos that are on the website. And if you do come to my garden, please come and find me, introduce yourself, tell me that you follow me here on YouTube, because I would love to meet you guys in person. Thank you so much for watching. You guys will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.